This is CBC Here and Now.
Healthcare cuts. 93 management level jobs are axed. Most are at regional health authorities.
There's nobody checks on these people anymore.
A seniors' home under the care of Eastern Health becomes a boarding house with no oversight.
I actually didn't feel any butterflies today.
And we could tell. What a skate. Caitlin Osmond sits in second place at the World Figure Skating Championships in Finland.
Well, the weather department looking like a messy mix of snow, ice pellets, freezing rain, even some rain on the Avalon. Areas west, all snow and lots of it. Wind for all. The details are coming up.
Well, on Monday, we brought you to Riverside Country Manor in Mount Carmel. We told you what went on inside that senior's home in the past.
And why Eastern Health revoked its personal care home license last July. Here Now's Ryan Cook is joining us now in the studio with the very latest. Ryan?
Well, that license has been revoked, but some residents remain. Despite a history of complaints and violations, Riverside Country Manor is still home to 4 citizens.
Eastern Health doesn't come around here anymore. Their inspections, which led to the home's personal care license being yanked, are no longer necessary. In fact, they're no longer allowed. This is not a senior's home.
We're on private property, please go.
Since last summer, Riverside Country Manor has been a boarding house. The residents remain mostly the same. 4 decided to stay here. The difference is in regulations. Boarding homes are not covered by any provincial legislation, while personal care homes must have at least 5 residents. That means Eastern Health is no longer responsible for monitoring the care received by residents, including a 96-year-old man. His nephew feels like the authority left him out to dry.
I don't understand that. Eastern Health is just a way for them to clear themselves of the home. There's nobody checks on these people anymore.
Not wanting to leave the home he'd spent years in, the man chose to stay. He was discharged from Eastern Health's care and, according to his nephew, now pays $1,950 a month to stay in Mount Carmel.
He has fallen between the cracks because where he is living now is totally exempt from the Residential Tenancy Act, and also the Regional Health Authority has no mandate or no legal ability to have any oversight as well.
Roger says a combination of factors are at play. Gaps in legislation, unpreparedness for our aging population, and the desperation of seniors. Those are the things that have left 4 residents in what she calls a vulnerable situation.
While the people who own the home won't speak with us, we did find an ad in the local church bulletin from earlier this month seeking more residents for the home. Eastern Health confirms they are not monitoring the home right now. However, if they hear that Riverside Country Manor is housing 5 or more residents receiving care, they will investigate. Debbie?
Thanks very much, Ryan. Well, this story generated a lot of talk today, including political reaction at the House of Assembly. Here's some of what was said this afternoon during question period.
CBC has reported that seniors continue to live at the former Riverside Country Manor months after Eastern Health pulled the home's license. Inspection reports identified numerous issues and concerns for the seniors' health and safety. I asked the minister responsible for housing, what are you doing to ensure that these seniors are being taken care of?
The Honourable Minister of Health and Community Services.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The facility in question was licensed as a personal care home by Eastern Health. After concerns were raised, Eastern Health withdrew that licence. They worked with each of the residents to offer them alternative accommodation. There are 4 people living there of their own choice and free will as a boarding house, which is not regulated by the Department of Health and therefore is now outside my jurisdiction.
Well, government cuts continue tonight, and this time it's the health authorities that are being cut. In total, 93 positions are gone from the 4 health authorities and the Centre for Health Information. Now, here's the breakdown of the cuts. 8 executive positions, 72 management positions, and 13 non-union, non-management positions are cut. And tonight, there are warnings that more cuts could be coming. Here Now's Peter Cowan explains.
The health minister insists that patient care at places like here at the Health Sciences Centre won't be affected by the management cuts today. In total, government is expecting to save about $7 million through cutting these positions, but will have to pay out about $8 million for things like severance costs. These cuts are very similar to the ones that core government did just a little while ago, with about a 20% reduction in the overall number of managers. And it sounds like, from the way that the health minister is talking, there could be more cuts coming. He says right now this province is simply spending too much on health care.
We cannot afford the difference between what we spend on healthcare compared with the national average, because we don't see the value. $7,130 is what the province spends for every man, woman and child every year on healthcare. Canadian national average is $5,998. We do not see $1,130 odd worth of benefit. We actually have the worst outcomes in some areas in terms of general health predictors.
The opposition parties aren't convinced that patient care won't be affected by these cuts. Here's how they responded to today's news.
This morning's haphazard random announcement is very concerning. Once again, this is evidence that the Liberal government is operating without any kind of plan whatsoever.
Those managers that are being talked about in the middle level are very often taking care of things which do impact services. So, for example, you have managers who deal with the whole issue of quality and safety assurance. We don't know what managers are gone.
The health minister says he can't say which specific positions or areas have been cut until all the staff have been notified. Peter Cowan, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, the engineering building at Memorial University was evacuated a short time ago after a fire on the ground floor lab. There were no reported injuries, and according to the university, the fire was quickly contained. It started in a refrigeration unit in a thermal lab. Smoke was lingering in the immediate area of the building, and it's unclear when the facility may reopen.
Well, to say the least, it has been a long, challenging winter, and it's not over yet. There's another storm bearing down on parts of the province, one that will bring plenty of snow and freezing rain. We'll get to that in a moment. But it was only 3 weeks ago that a vicious windstorm ripped through the region, causing a whole lot of damage. Here now's Mark Quinn has been checking into the cleanup from that storm. So, Mark, what did you find today?
Well, Debbie, viewers might remember this home here. This is the house that had the whole roof and top floor ripped off of it when that wicked wind hit on March 11th. It's one of hundreds of homes and buildings that were damaged on that day, and of course the rebuilding is still happening. Lanny Buffett is with On-Side Restoration. It's a business that jumps into action when disaster strikes. So when winds whipped up to 180 kilometers per hour earlier this month, they got very busy.
Just been going 16, 18-hour days trying to get them all clued up.
Hurricane-force winds took down traffic lights and tore roofs and siding off homes and businesses. There were no serious injuries reported, but all this damage meant more than 500 claims for On-Side Restoration.
A couple of roofs that came right off, like the roof systems, and then a lot of claims with shingles missing, siding missing. That was the main, bulk of them. But we also had, the one with the boat went in through the house. That was one of ours. We had to pull people from other branches, Vancouver, Ontario, Alberta.
Here's how the Mount Pearl house that I'm outside of today looked on March 12th. Builders here have been very busy since that last big storm hit a few weeks ago, and they were hard at work again today, making repairs and replacing siding. Now, Debbie, as you can see here, the building is not entirely finished yet, but I did speak with workers today who are working on it, and they said a structural engineer has been in this building, and the building is sound, and they're ready for whatever weather winter is going to throw at it, which brings me to Ryan, of course. Ryan, what can builders here, and of course all of us, expect in the next coming days?
Well, Mark, thanks very much. The good news is winds won't be anywhere near as strong as they were with that storm that did so much damage across the Avalon and eastern Newfoundland in particular. Let's start with the amounts in terms of the snow and the ice pellets, the freezing rain and the rain. Again, the Avalon will bear the brunt of that messy mix, and because of that, amounts are lower than what we were thinking about at least a couple of days ago, and those heaviest amounts now appear set for The North Coast, anywhere from Bonavista Bay, even Clarenville, back towards Gander, Grand Falls, Windsor, and I think the Bay of the Bayvert Peninsula will likely be the bullseye here. That is the best chance of seeing amounts near 50, even a localized pocket or two above 50. And you can see we're in the metro region, I think, with that freezing rain and rain mixing in for tomorrow, will likely be in that 25 to 35 range. Here's how it plays out in terms of your timeline. Note the snow on the go for pretty much everyone tomorrow. I'll direct your attention to the southeast and the Avalon, and that's where tomorrow we'll see that pink area. That's the ice pellets and freezing rain starting to mix in through the day tomorrow, more so through the evening and the overnight, but winds will still be howling. And then it's as we move throughout the midday Friday that we go back to snow here in the east, and that's where we'll see the snow, the blowing snow, and the worst conditions in terms of the combination of the snow and wind for the Avalon. It'll be Friday afternoon into Friday evening. We'll break down your timeline in more detail. Of course, full forecast is just ahead. Carolyn?
Thanks, Ryan. Well, the recall of a popular brand of all-purpose flour is expanding tonight to include this province. Public health officials say there have been 25 cases of E. coli linked to a batch of Robin Hood flour, and 6 people had to be treated in hospital. The initial recall affected Western Canada, but tonight the Canadian Food Inspection Agency is confirming that there have been 5 reported cases of people in this province becoming sick. In other cases, there are people who became sick in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. Overall, 25 cases have been reported between November and the end of February. 6 people were hospitalized. The agency says if you have a 10-kilogram bag of Robin Hood all-purpose flour with a best before date of April 17th, you should throw it out or return it to the store.
Ice and poor weather in the Labrador Straits means the MV Apollo has been docked since Friday. So this morning, Labrador Marine started offering passengers flights between Blanc-Sablon and St. Barbe. Many travelers say they are frustrated because they have to pay for hotels and restaurants. And while the flights help, others say there's very little that can be done without a vehicle on the other side of the Strait of Belle Isle.
Well, the hill is blanketed with snow, but Marble Mountain is closing for the season this weekend. The board that runs the ski hill in Steadybrook says the closing date is decided before the ski season begins. And the season can't be extended because there's no money available to keep the place running after April 2nd. That isn't going over well with some of the skiers.
This weekend is way too soon. I mean, I think we still probably have about another 6 weeks of winter left. And for anybody who skis, I mean, this is what we do all winter long. So now the next 6 weeks are going to be, a little bit of a drag because the hill's not going to be open. It's unfortunate. When we have a long winter here in Corner Brook. I mean, this is, a treasure as far as I'm concerned.
Buren's Tanner Fitzpatrick played in the Merritt Mackenzie charity hockey game in Calgary on Tuesday, but it was far from an ordinary game. Merritt Mackenzie was an organ donor who died in 2013. At that time, Fitzpatrick was in desperate need of a new heart, and he got one from Merritt. He was asked what it meant to play in a game honoring her.
Undescribable. So, it means a lot. It's amazing. She gave me another chance at life.
Well, could Cartwright be the new launching pad for space? One company thinks so, and it's seeking approval from the province to start doing test launches from the south coast of Labrador. Here now's Jacob Barker has our story.
When you hear the term space cannon, you might think of this, or even this. But in more realistic, non-Hollywood terms, this is a space cannon.
Starfire!
The provincial government refers to it as a mobile artillery cannon, and Starfire Scientific Incorporated out of Ontario wants to set one up just outside of Cartwright so it can launch items into space. It's something CEO Richard Graff has been working on for nearly 3 decades.
We can do atmospheric research, we can do material sciences. Global warming is a major issue right now. We can launch payload packages that come down with, say, parachutes and such, and they can examine the atmosphere and other things that are going on up there.
Graff says Cartwright is an ideal spot because there's plenty of wide open space. A 15 square kilometer safety zone is required for the launches, but he says they can be very precise about the locations where the projectiles return to Earth. The company also hopes to launch small satellites into orbit in the future. From Cartwright, they can launch to the North Pole and the equator. Right now, Starfire wants to do tests with plywood slugs like these, which they would shoot vertically. Up until now, they've been firing horizontally. For now, the company's waiting on environmental approval from the province. Once that's complete, they'll need the go-ahead from Transport Canada.
Absolutely perfect.
The public is invited to weigh in on the project and can do so until the end of April. If the company gets the approvals that it's asking for, Graf hopes to start the test launches by the end of May or early June. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
Back to basics. The Autism Society is taking gardening from the outdoors into the classroom. That's coming up next.
Caitlin Osmond put on quite the show with the World Figure Skating Championships in Helsinki this morning and now holds second place. Later, we'll show you her performance. Welcome back, everyone. And we are obviously going to get to the weather shortly, but we have something special to show you.
Yeah, and worth seeing.
Yeah, the construction of the $14 billion Hebron platform is winding down. Here's a glimpse tonight of the work that was done over the past 4 years.
Yeah, it's a time-lapse video, and you can see what a sight.
Absolutely fascinating. 4 years that this time lapse was taken over different weather conditions, all times of the day and night. Hey, Carolyn?
Amazing. So many people worked on that. And the Hebron platform is expected to be towed out to the Hebron oil field in April and should go into production before the end of the year.
Engineering marvel.
Yep.
Really.
A lot of manpower went into that. As we said, that's 4 years. You can see the concrete center as it's coming up. I think we get another shot of that. Wow.
Wow.
There it is.
Wow.
Incredible.
Hardly looks real.
Yeah. And how much weather did the folks be building that have to go through?
Of course, that's where your mind goes,
Yeah.
Ryan.
And that was a beautiful night for that. Okay, well, let's get to the not so beautiful part of this segment.
Yes, and the weather is, again, turning unsettled. This is a weird one. It's a long duration event. We're ramping up through the day tomorrow, really peaking in terms of wind and snow for Thursday night into Friday. So let's kind of break this down for you. First, we'll start with Environment Canada's special weather statements in effect for most of the island. There's a wind warning in effect for Cape Race for tomorrow night and into Friday morning. There's a snowfall warning in effect for the Burin Peninsula, Conagra, and up towards the Bayvert Peninsula. These are the areas where by the end of the day tomorrow, we're looking at over 15 centimeters of snow. And I'll show you those pockets in just a moment. Everybody else is looking at generally 5 to 10 centimeters through the day tomorrow with, again, 2 to 5 centimeters tonight. Blowing snow advisories in effect from Cartwright down to Mary's Harbour and that region in the southeastern parts of Labrador. Note the snow that is already starting to lick up to that southwest coast, some flurries up towards Corner Brook. These are the two lows. This is our subtropical low, which is carrying all the moisture. And one of the reasons why the forecast models have had such a tough time with this one is it's coming from no man's land, and they're having a tough time figuring out how much moisture this system is going to throw into this low, which is moving in. The two will combine, and you can see where all the moisture will be thrown up towards Newfoundland as we work throughout the day tomorrow, but really starting to ramp up and turn itself in to Newfoundland as we move into the Thursday night and Friday time period. Whether this backs in as rain, freezing rain, snow, that's what we've been battling all week for the Avalon. It's looking more and more like it will be a messy mix for the Avalon and St. John's, whereas those heavier snowfall amounts are going to be destined for central Newfoundland and along the north coast as far east as Bonavista Bay. We'll show you that again in a second. There are your conditions as of tomorrow morning. So yes, snow on the go for central, western parts of Newfoundland, the northern peninsula, down across the south coast. The Avalon and St. John's, a chance of a flurry, but I think for the most part, we are smooth sailing to start the day for tomorrow. As we move throughout the day tomorrow, however, we will see some snow building in. We're looking at about 5 centimeters by the end of tomorrow in St. John's. And again, some heavier snowfall amounts starting to build up in central, 5 to 10 centimeters. And the Burin Peninsula up through Bayvert, again, will be where we see the heaviest totals. There, the chance of flurries in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, mainly cloudy skies in Labrador City with some snow into the southeast parts of Labrador. And again, that is thanks to a wave that's pushing in from the north. And the northern peninsula will get into some of that as well tomorrow. By 4 p.m. tomorrow, you can see most of the island in that 5 to 10 centimeter range, including the Avalon, but I think we're closer to 5 for St. John's, and the best chance of some 10 to 15, even 20 centimeter amounts for the Burin up towards the Bayvert Peninsula. So we will break that down again in more detail. Now, again, I will run this out right through Friday in more detail with your long range, but I do want to give you folks a heads up that for Thursday, if you are traveling into the afternoon, note those winds that are going to be ramping up, 30, 40, 50 kilometer per hour gusts, as strong as 60 along the north coast by the end of the day tomorrow. And then it's that ice pellet freezing rain mix coming into the Avalon for Thursday night in through Friday before we finally go back to snow on Friday with those winds gusting 80, 90 to 100 kilometers per hour. Your long range forecast details with this and a look into the weekend and that one next week. That's all coming up. Carolyn?
Great. Thanks, Ryan. Well, an employment transition program run by the Autism Society has brought gardening from the outside into a St. John's classroom. It's the first time the group has gone into a school to teach the basic farming skills, but it's something it hopes to do more of in the future. Here Now's Jeremy Eaton has that story.
Soil in your little container.
Kids in one St. John's classroom are learning something they don't normally get taught in school, and they're learning it from people who normally don't teach them.
You're doing the right thing.
The Autism Society's Transitions Employment Program brought their gardening skills into Bishop Field.
One of the biggest ways that we teach employment skills at the centre is gardening and farming. We're on about 10 acres of land at the centre. We have a greenhouse, a composter, and there's so many work-related skills involved in that. So we decided to take our skills on the road and teach little kids about planting seeds.
They grow out of their homes like you grow too big for your clothes.
Megan Marshall and two of her program participants, Colin Martin and Micah Madalena, teach the kids about seedlings. Then things get a little messy.
Oh, it's so wet.
The grade 1s in Miss Howard's class get their hands dirty trying to find their green thumbs. New skills to some of these students, nothing new to the Autism Society.
The farming and gardening have been happening for a number of years. We also have a mobile garden crew where we go out in the community and plant and landscape. This is the first time we've gone to a school to do a workshop like this.
One more scoop.
With their little pots overflowing with soil, the students then get to planting green and yellow beans. And then it all gets wet.
Anything that bridges my participants into the community and gives a new face to autism is our agenda, and being able to share gardening information is something that we like to do, so we hope to do more of it.
These three have done what they can to get these plants to grow. The rest is up to nice weather, something in short supply around these parts lately. Jeremy Eaton, CBC News, St. John's.
If you're a book lover, this is certainly the place to be in St. John's. The Arts and Culture Center for their annual Great Big Book Sale. It runs until tomorrow afternoon, and all the books, about 40,000 of them, were donated. The Canadian Federation of University Women puts the money it raises from the sale into scholarships and the MUN Food Bank. We met up with organizer Joyce Noseworthy and some customers.
Had anywhere from 45 to 50,000 books this year. It's very difficult for us to give a precise value because, of course, we don't count every book that we handle. But we do count the number of boxes we pack, and we do average it out. So anywhere between 45 and 50,000 books.
Oh, my name is Rochelle Kavanagh, and I've hit the fantasy section. Just a lot of people in my family like to read that genre of novels, so it's a good way to pick up a whole set. Oh, every deal is a good deal here. You can't, with the tax on books now, that makes it even more special to be able to pick these up at such a good price.
James, what do you got here in the box today?
A few different styles of books. Got some Spanish dictionary style stuff, horse books about horses for the girlfriend, a medical book on medics from the war. I'm a paramedic myself, so it's kind of interesting to me about see what their practices was back in the earlier days before my time. Good deals, a lot of rare books that you can see, older ones for like $2 max. Some are even free.
He's the CEO of the province's largest health authority, and after weeks of discussions with government, David Diamond eliminated dozens of jobs at Eastern Health today. The details are ahead. Welcome back to Here and Now. As we heard earlier, the province's health care authorities lowered the axe on 93 management positions today ahead of next week's provincial budget. Now, the biggest cut was by the biggest healthcare authority, where 46 positions at Eastern Health are gone. David Diamond is the CEO of Eastern Health, and I caught up with him earlier today.
Out of the 46 positions that we've announced today, 24 of those are vacancies, and we've been anticipating some sort of action we would need to take as a result of budget for some time now. So, you know, in a very difficult situation, we're at least pleased that 24 of the positions that we're eliminating today don't involve individuals, and so that work has been ongoing for about 6 months.
For the 22 who are finding out that they are losing their jobs, where are those jobs? Which departments?
Our staff are just finding out, some of them within the last hour or two, and so this is still pretty difficult for individuals and families. But safe to say, really across the organization, you know, some here in St. John's and some in other communities across a variety of programs, largely in our corporate services and support services areas, but some in clinical as well. We've tried really hard to stay away from, or in our assessment, not to identify positions that were close to frontline patient care, and we think for the most part we've been able to do that. So a lot of our positions are more on the support side, but that's you know, that's not entirely true. There are some positions that are in clinical programs but not close to frontline.
Well, on that, I seem to recall during the Cameron inquiry that some of the cuts in the pathology department of management and elsewhere in that department were partially responsible for some of the mistakes that were made in breast cancer testing. How worried are you about the impact on patient services in Eastern Health?
Well, the work of the Cameron inquiry predates me, but of course I've seen lots of that material, and so we are very concerned about protecting quality in all of these sorts of initiatives that we do that would have a detrimental impact on frontline care. And equally, we've tried to not identify positions that we think will create huge gaps that can't be filled, that would create the kinds of circumstances that you've referred to from a few years ago.
What about the staff that are left in various departments that are being affected by these decisions today? I mean, how are they going to pick up the slack?
Part of the challenge of you know, with 22 people, most of whom are leaving today, is to redistribute workload, and so some of our managers will take on additional work. We will change the models. Some work will stop if we had projects and the project manager is no longer in the organization, and some things will be slower on the support services side. So taking 46 positions out of an organization can't be without impact.
Given the deficit situation you were in last year, over $46 million, a one-time bailout, if you will, from the province to lower that deficit. What is the situation now as you go forward? Are you any closer to balancing the books?
We're continuing to have that conversation with government. We don't know the details of the budgets that'll happen next week. So there are some things we have control over and some things we don't. The things that we do have lots of control over is how efficient we run our operation internally. We have been doing a lot of work in the last 18 months to try and find efficiencies in areas like sick leave and overtime, workers' compensation, injury rates, what we do with technology. So there's a lot of activity happening within the management group, in large part led by frontline managers within their departments around efficiencies, and we've been very successful with that. It doesn't solve our $40 million deficit issue, and so that's an ongoing conversation with government in terms of what their expectations will be into the next year.
Mr. Diamond, how worried should people who work at Eastern Health today be as they go forward? Should they be worried about more cuts to their jobs?
You know, I would hope that you know, most of what we need to do in the next period of time we can do without this type of large-scale layoff, but you know,
but it's not out of the question.
I don't really know what the budget will hold for us, and so in large part we'll you know, understand what the direction of government is and adjust accordingly.
Figure skater Caitlin Osmond was back on the ice this morning at the World Figure Skating Championships. After the break, we'll show you her performance and tell you how the judges rated her. Well, it was a big day for Caitlin Osmond at the World Figure Skating Championships in Helsinki, Finland. The Marystown native and three-time Canadian champion skated extremely well and currently sits in second place. And if you didn't see it online this morning, here is her performance in its entirety.
Sous le ciel de Paris s'envole une chanson. Elle est née d'aujourd'hui dans le cœur d'un garçon. Sous le ciel de Paris marche le bonheur se construit sur un air fait pour eux. Sous le pont de Versailles. Ça je l'aurais jamais cru.
Wow, just a beautiful performance from Caitlin Osmond and lots of support from the crowd. Now, once she got off the ice, Caitlin spoke to CBC Sports about her short program and she was asked how nervous she was going into it.
I actually didn't feel any butterflies today. I was just super excited to be back in Finland. I started my season off here in Finland with one of my better well, I guess it wasn't a clean short then, but it was pretty close. So I started off my season in Finland and it went great, and I just really wanted to enjoy it. It was probably the last time I do the short program, so I wanted to do it as best as I could and just to enjoy every single minute of it.
So Caitlin is just a few points behind her Russian competitor, and sitting in third place is fellow Canadian Gabrielle Daleman. And if you want to watch Caitlin's short program again, you can tune into CBC tonight at 9:30 for the women's and pairs short program. The women's long program is set for this Friday. It'll begin at 12:30 Island time, and we'll make sure that we will bring you the latest on Here and Now on Friday evening. All right.
I'm telling you, I've said it before, I'll say it again. No one can move faster in high heels than these two ladies right here.
Okay, so we have to move and just kind of change our mood a little because we have something kind of, well, very serious to tell you.
Yeah.
It is a sad story out of Texas tonight, and one I know you have keen interest in, Ryan.
Definitely.
3 storm chasers in pursuit of a tornado were killed when their cars collided at high speed.
Yeah, the men were driving toward the twister, 2 in one car and 1 in another, when they collided at an intersection.
Now, 2 of the men had been featured on the Weather Channel's show Storm Wranglers and were actually live streaming their pursuit at the time of the crash. And you know, I can tell you, it's been 4 years this spring since I was down storm chasing. But when talking to a lot of the chasers, they are more worried about this type of thing than they are the storms themselves, and they actually call it chaser convergence, where there are so many storm chasers on the roads now because of social media and the appeal of it. There's a lot on the roads, and they can get jammed in a hurry, and especially if you're trying to flee an incoming storm, things like that unfortunately could happen.
Yeah, that is a shame.
Definitely.
Because the video that is captured by them is so important, but anyway, that's the end result sometimes.
Definitely. So our thoughts and prayers there, obviously. Now, a storm of a different kind here in our neck of the woods, one that we've been tracking all week and trying to get a handle on. Here is the latest thinking. And you can see where St. John's and the east, we'll get back to that in a second, but 25 to 35 centimeters. Lower amounts there because of that 10 to 20 millimeter freezing rain and rain. If you added those two together with snow, we'd obviously be higher, but with that mixing, amounts should remain in that general 30 centimeter range. 30 to 50 looking set from Clarenville to the Baver Peninsula, all through central Gander, Grand Falls, Windsor will likely be right around that as well. And for the west coast, 15 to 20 to as much as 25 centimeters and 20 to 30 amounts from the south coast, including the Burin Peninsula. Now for St. John's and the metro region, for your timeline, looking at about 5 centimeters through the day tomorrow. And then it's that snow ice pellet mix. Could see 2 to as much as 5 centimeters with that mixing. Freezing rain through the overnight. I think we'll even right along the coast, right downtown along the harbor in St. John's. Likely we'll see some just rain with temperatures just above the freezing mark, but ice accretion for inland areas. And the winds will pick up again from midnight Friday, strongest from midnight Friday to midnight Saturday. And then we'll add back in the snow around the noon hour, midday time period on Friday. And so when you add in the snow and the wind, this is definitely going to be the bulk of the blowing snow conditions and just the dirty driving conditions for sure will be the later stages of Friday and tapering off into Saturday. Now, a timeline for everybody here, and we'll walk you through in chronological order. Note as we move into the Thursday morning time period, everybody into the snow. Things will ramp up in terms of winds, gusts 40, 50, 60 kilometers per hour for your drive home tomorrow. Temperatures near the freezing mark for most of us. Labrador sitting quiet with just some flurries into Happy Valley Goose Bay. Now, as we take a look, by the time we get to Friday, it is that mix back to snow for the St. John's and the metro region with that freezing rain and ice pellet mix through the overnight into Friday morning, and then again back to snow midday. Snow and blowing snow through central towards western Newfoundland, and again those winds will be gusting. Note your winds here, 80 to 100 kilometer per hour gusts from through Friday afternoon into the Friday evening time period, and then finally as we work into the overnight hours and into Saturday, that snow will depart from west to east, becoming flurries, but even by Saturday morning still looking at gusts potentially in the 70 to 80 kilometer per hour range for eastern parts of Newfoundland. Labrador, of course, sitting quiet here. And then as we look into your Saturday forecast then, snow to flurries in the east, flurries in central, actually seeing some sunshine into the afternoon in western parts of Newfoundland. Sunday looks good. And then Sunday night into Monday, we do have to talk about it because it is getting closer. Another snow event looking set for what now appears to be most of the island. Temperatures riding that freezing mark. Could see some mixing in the east, but I think more snow than not at this point anyway. And in Labrador, beautiful into Saturday, some light snow for Sunday into Monday.
Our young athlete of the day enjoys the game of hockey. 8-year-old Sophia Fleet is from Torres Cove.
Sophia plays defense for the Southern Shore Breakers. She has a great time on the ice with her friends and teammates.
Congrats, Sophia. You are today's young athlete of the day.
Well, Samsung unveiled its newest Android phone today. It's called the Galaxy S8. Samsung is hoping the new phone and splashy launch will help the company turn the corner on a challenging year. The Galaxy S8 comes with a virtual reality headset that allows users to control a number of internet-connected devices such as TVs and refrigerators. Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, cost may be one reason Canadians aren't eating enough vegetables, but it's not the only one. The CBC's Christine Birak explains why many of us aren't choosing vegetables more often and what's being done to make those greens more appetizing.
We know we should be eating them, and new evidence is piling up. Fruits and vegetables can improve psychological well-being, prevent cardiovascular disease, cancer, even early death. Still, most of us aren't choking down nearly enough of the green stuff. Newly released StatsCan numbers show only 3 out of 10 Canadians aged 12 and up ate the recommended 5 or more servings a day. One serving is a medium-sized apple or half a cup of broccoli.
So why aren't we eating our fruits and vegetables? Researchers say cost, perishability, and prep time are all important factors. But another big one is taste. Vegetables can leave a bitter taste in your mouth, literally.
It is an reaction. People will reject it.
Experts say what you eat growing up makes a big difference, along with your genetics. About 25 to 30% of us are super tasters, extremely sensitive to bitterness, the pickiest eaters.
One can take bitter tasting vegetables and modify them to make them less bitter. So cooking them, particularly in something like olive oil.
In here, they're working on other modifications, tinkering with the chemicals inside fruit and vegetables that express taste, color, and texture.
It can't have that kind of mealy, grainy, dry, mushy, but it also can't be too firm and crunchy and, that cardboard tomato that consumers talk about that they don't like.
Farmers grow tomatoes for size and durability, but extensive lab testing discovered what consumers care about is texture. Using bees, they're now trying to crossbreed plants to find a hardy yet better tasting tomato.
There's a lot of things that we can be doing, to make them more palatable for people. We just need to understand what that is.
Be it crossbred tomatoes or genetically modified non-browning apples, researchers say the key is maintaining nutrient content. Because if they're not healthy, most would agree, what's the point? Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, the Ford Motor Company is recalling a total of more than 500,000 vehicles in North America and Europe. They were manufactured between 2013 and 2015, and more than 20,000 of them are in Canada. The vehicles include Ford Fusions, Escape SUVs, and the Fiesta STs. Some vehicles are at risk of an engine fire. Faulty door latches need to be replaced on others. The problem could stop doors from closing or let them open while the car is being driven.
There's new video showing a passenger jet going up in flames after it skidded off the runway in an emergency landing. Authorities say all 141 passengers and crew were able to get out of the burning wreckage. None suffered serious injuries, which is incredible looking at that video. An investigation, of course, is underway.
Well, is Adele saying goodbye to touring? Here she is with her song Send My Love. It's one of the hits she's been performing during her 15 months on the road.
And after all that, she says she may never tour again. She told her audience in New Zealand that touring just isn't something she's good at. Let's hope she sticks with the studio if there's no more touring.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, this isn't exactly what a farmer in Echo Bay, Ontario expected to find when he went to collect eggs.
An extraordinary 180-gram offering that could be the biggest recorded, oh my goodness, in Canada. That's heavier than a Major League Baseball, about the size of a large apple.
Wow. Unfortunately, the farmer doesn't know which of his few dozen chickens is responsible, though he did say there was one that looked, quote, light and happy. Of course, our CBC Investigates unit is scrambling to find out the truth and will crack this story wide open when we have it.
Somebody made her say that.
Yeah. extra.
Yeah, thanks, Rod Etheridge.
Extra large eggs. Wow. Pretty impressive. Okay, some impressive snowfall totals possible from, again, mainly I think Trinity Bay back up to Notre Dame Bay and Green Bay, White Bay area, where we're looking at the 30 to 50 centimeter best chances. Amounts will be a little bit lower here, 25 to 35 for Metro, because we're going to be seeing that mixing. If we see less mixing, we'll see higher totals. Should state that. And if we see more mixing, then perhaps some lower totals, which I'm sure more than a few of you are keeping your fingers crossed for. Not so much this guy, though. Great picture here. And if you take a look at it, the sign, it says, "Heck no, we won't go." And this is the snowman in Gander that is protesting spring.